My name is Courtney, and I am the World War II Veterans Legacy Program Manager here at the National Museum of the Pacific War. And I run the Society of Sons and Daughters of World War II Veterans, which is our genealogy program here housed at the museum. Some of you might wonder why this museum is in Fredericksburg, Texas. If you are a history buff and know anything about World War II history, Fleet Admiral Nimitz, who was the famed admiral for the Pacific in World War II, this was his hometown, so that is why the museum is housed here in Fredericksburg, Texas. All right. During World War II, over 16 million Americans, men and women alike, served in the United States Armed Forces. And as their descendants, we have a duty to honor and preserve their legacy. So we invite you to join us in sharing and safeguarding their stories. The Society of Sons and Daughters of World War II Veterans is a genealogy-focused initiative committed to keeping alive the memory and narrative of America's greatest generation. So, why is World War II genealogy so important? So, it helps us understand our family history. Researching World War II ancestors reveals details about family members' roles, experiences, and contributions during the war, providing a clearer picture of their lives. Service records contain information on ranks, service locations, and events that help shape family legacies. It helps us connect with national heritage. World War II genealogy helps individuals relate personal family stories to broader historical events, highlighting how their ancestors contributed to critical moments in national and world history. And this connection fosters pride and a stronger sense of belonging. Discovering unknown information. Research often uncovers previously unknown or lost details, such as medals that were won, honors that were given, or places served, which enrich family history and fill in gaps in knowledge. It can provide vital data about an ancestor's life, next of kin, or other personal details. And of course, honoring sacrifice and service. Genealogical research serves as a way to honor those who served in World War II, especially those who were injured or lost their lives. So, by remembering and sharing their stories with future generations, projects like preserving letters or creating family archives ensure that these sacrifices are not forgotten. So, who are we? The Society of Sons and Daughters of World War II Veterans is a genealogy-focused group that honors and preserves the legacy of Americans who served in World War II. The Society is a membership program of the National Museum of the Pacific War and the Admiral Nimitz Foundation. It allows descendants, relatives, and friends of World War II veterans to become members, share documentation, photographs, and stories in a supportive online community. And as you can see here on the left, this is a veteran that we honor within our society, PFC Lavinia Garrard. She was a Marine. A little bit about our history. The name and the concept of Sons and Daughters of World War II Veterans was successfully copyrighted October 22nd, 2001 in the United States Patent and Trademark Office by the Admiral Nimitz Foundation. We started accepting membership into the society January 1st, 2011. I don't know why it took 10 years, but it did. As far as I know in my research, we are the only trademark World War II genealogical society. There are others out there, but they, for me, have had some questionable things about them that I have found. That's the only red flags I have seen about them. So, what is the purpose of our society? So we are creating a public database of military records from individual World War II veterans accessible for future historians, authors, and students researching the legacy of World War II. To allow individuals to prove family ancestry and lineage from an American veteran of World War II. To perpetuate the stories of the sacrifices and achievements of the greatest generation of Americans that fought and won World War II. And to meet the National Genealogical Society standards. So what are we doing, right? We're connecting families to the greatest generation. We're preserving these stories, documents, and personal histories, and we're offering insight into family and national history. So our hope is that if you have boxes of paper, photographs, data, journals, just lying in a box, that we are able to get these digitized and in our database under your veteran's name so that they can be available to other family members. And as we said, like historians, so that these stories become searchable to other members or other history buffs so that they can research these, stories and that they live on. So we offer two membership categories: lineal, which are individuals demonstrating lineal descent through birth or adoption, any and all generations. So even though it is called sons and daughters, we take any relation. You can be a niece, a nephew, a granddaughter, a great-grandson, any relation, as long as you can show lineal relation. We also have the memorial category. It's an individual presenting a World War II veteran for inclusion in our records as a friend with no claim of family relation. We just had a memorial category done. It was a family friend who the service member was killed in action, so they did not have any living relatives, but their dad served with this service member, so she had proof of their service, and she even had photographs of this veteran. So she was able to prove his service, but again, there was no relation, so she did not qualify for the lineal category, but she qualified for this veteran under the memorial category. So what are the membership requirements? Eligibility requires documentation of the veteran's service between December 7th, 1941 and December 31st, 1946 in any branch of the U.S. Armed Forces. What kind of military proof is accepted? We take lots of things. Pension papers, veteran administration records, military awards, a DD-214, which was only given after January 1st, 1950. What preceded that was an honorable discharge certificate or a form WD-AGO 53-55. That was a War Department document. The DD-214s are still used today, but again, that WD-AGO form is what came first. Any letter with a military letterhead, and the National Archive form. If any of you are lovers of genealogy or have researched your family history, you are probably aware that the National Archives had a devastating fire in the 70s, and a lot of their records were destroyed in 1973. And unfortunately, the majority of the records that were destroyed were World War II records. So you can still write to them. I will give you that information in a couple of slides and request your items. Some people do get lucky and they have your items still. Some people unfortunately get a letter back that just says, we can verify your veteran. Here's his name. Here's his service number. Unfortunately, we have no records of him because of the fire. We still accept that letter because they are verifying your veteran with his service number. These are just a couple examples of records that we have on file currently. These are different examples of honorable discharge forms. These are what I like to call the fancy discharge forms because these are not like the DD-214 or the WD-AGO forms. So here on the left, we have a United States Navy discharge form. So you can see the veteran's name is clearly listed. It has the date, which was the 4th day of March, 1946 was when he was discharged. And it also lists what his rank was at the time. On the right, we have an Army example. Theirs gives a little bit more detail. His name. This one has his service number. Again, his rank, what company he was with, and you can see the date towards the bottom, 18 December 1945. Here on the left, we have one of those War Department AGO forms. These give a ton of detail. So if you find one of these for your veteran, these will give you a lot more detail. These will give you their home of birth. These will give you where they were discharged to, what city and state. These will give you the battles and campaigns they fought in. These will give you the decorations and citations that they received. Like this gentleman received a Purple Heart. He received one battle star, a Good Conduct Medal. He was in Normandy. This one shows his rank, that he was in the infantry group for the army. And this one even shows you that when he was released, what type of pay he was released with. He got $300. So lots of good information on these. I like to call these gold because you can find out a lot of information from these. And if you are ever wanting to build like a shadow box for your veteran, you have all of the ribbons listed here for you. Here on the right is one of those letterheads that I talked about. So you see it's a Department of the Navy letterhead. And again, it has the veteran's name, the veteran service number, and this was for a Navy unit commendation ribbon. Here on the left, we have a letter that was sent to the family for the service member. He was killed in action, and it's signed by Franklin Roosevelt. So it is in memoriam of the veteran, and it was sent to the family after the fact once he was confirmed killed in action. And then on the right, it's a War Department letterhead. It's for the same veteran, Sergeant Farnsworth, and it is the telegram confirming about the veteran being killed in action. So what about membership requirements? What do we need for lineal proof? So we accept birth certificates, adoption records, marriage certificates. We accept census records because, again, if that lists the whole household with the children on there. Verified ancestry family trees. We ask that you please redact social security numbers. I do not want those in my files. Okay, thank you. So these are just some examples of lineal proof. We have a nice birth certificate here on the left. We have a marriage license from the state of New York on the right here. Here's a census record. So the veteran was listed on here, and then his children were listed. And this was for William became the son and daughter member, so he provided this as the proof. And then we also have an adoption record here on the right. We are one of the few genealogical societies that does accept adoption records. I know some are sticklers and they do not accept those, but we do. So how to research World War II genealogy. Of course, I am here to help you, but I know that some people just like to get started on their own. So I like to give you lots of ways to research this. So start with your family records. Lots of people have boxes in attics and basements and closets and crawl spaces. So pop those boxes open and look through them, right? So collect discharge papers, photos, letters. During World War II, people were writing a lot of letters home. Read through those letters, see what they were telling, what were they saying? What kind of battles or campaigns they were involved in? What medals did they receive? Were oral histories collected? Here at the museum, we're really trying to collect oral histories from living World War II veterans because obviously those are disappearing and we want to just have as many of those on record as possible. So that's just another thing that we're doing is recording oral histories as well. Looking at federal census, right? So analyzing census records from before and after World War II to track how relatives' lives changed due to the war. Were people moving? Did families grow? What kind of things occurred? So some websites to help you. These are websites that I use as well. I'm on them all the time. Fold 3. So Fold 3 is really good. They do require a membership. They offer a free, I think it's a free 7-day trial. It might be less than that, but they do offer a couple free days. But Fold 3 has also partnered, or they're in conjunction with the National Archives now. So a lot of the National Archives stuff is getting digitized. So new stuff is being added constantly. So Fold 3 is They have a lot of draft cards on there as well, which is really helpful. And you can get pretty detailed on Fold 3 about your search data. You can search specifically World War II. You can search, the ancestor's name. You can search a state even. So you can get pretty detailed on there. Before Ancestry and Fold 3 linked up together, Ancestry had their own US military collection, so they do still have their own separate military collection, which again is pretty good. Obviously, a lot of stuff was added by family members. You have to rely a little bit on that, but it's still pretty good. This next one, archives.gov, that's the National Archives. This is where you go to fill out the form to request anything from the National Archives. So you have to go to the website and you're going to look for a standard form 180. They are a bit in the Stone Ages. You can't really e-file. You can kind of like e-file the form, but they're still going to kind of snail mail you with their responses. They're going to let you know via snail mail that they've received your request. And they are a bit slow. It's government funded, so you have to be patient with that one. But if they do have anything on your veteran, it's usually pretty good. A lot of times it's a lot of medical records, but it's still pretty good. Now, if your veteran was killed in action or missing in action, that's completely different. You have to request their individual deceased personnel file. So for that one, you have to write the Department of the Army and or email them at the information listed there. They are 100% snail mail, no website, stuck in the Stone Ages. Unless they've updated it in the last like week since I have updated my information. It still is really good. I've worked with plenty of family members who have received information from them. So they do have information. They are good at providing the information. Again, you just have to be patient because you're dealing with a government entity. These are a couple other websites. The top one, the World War II registry.abmc.gov. This is actually for the World War II Veteran Memorial. So this one was family members could register their World War II veteran and kind of, it was almost like creating a plaque for them. So it was again kind of up to the family member. I actually did find one of my family members on there that I was not aware of that my great aunt had done a remembrance for them. Some of the information was incorrect. We had to do some updating on it. But again, it was just good to like verify their information on there. It's very, very, very minimal information. It's just the veteran, the branch of service, maybe some snippets such as rank, but our veterans specifically did not have any dates of service because, again, it was primarily family driven. So you just have to take that with a grain of salt. World War II Veterans.org. So when veterans came back from the war, a lot of cities, states, counties required the veteran to turn in their discharge forms, paperwork to the courthouse. So what a lot of places did was they created like a yearbook. That's the best way I can describe it, is a yearbook. And the gentleman who runs the World War II Veterans.org website has kind of taken on this passion project of trying to hunt down every World War II veteran yearbook that has been made thus far and digitize them. In Texas, I have partnered with somebody who has found 93 of the maybe 200 that exist. So I have 93 Texas county books digitized. So if anybody on here today, if your veteran comes from Texas, I can check my books. And again, his website is a smart search. So you can go on there and you can search your veteran's name and see what pops up. Again, they were done in like a yearbook format, which was just the veteran's photo, their name, and maybe, again, it depended on the city, the state, the county, whoever put their book together of what other information they put in there. And then we have our website, the pacificwarmuseum.org, our Center for Pacific War Studies. We have our digital archives and our library catalog. We currently are working with the University of North Texas, UNT, to digitize everything that we have in our archives to make it accessible for you all to search. So you can go into our data, you can search it, and we're digitizing new things every month. We have thousands upon thousands upon thousands of things in our archives, and our archive project has just started within the last 2 years. So keep checking if you're not finding what you are looking for right now, because like I said, we are digitizing new things every month. We send off things to UNT to be digitized. And of course, then I always just tell everybody to check with your state or county genealogical library. Everybody that I've worked with so far has really good genealogical libraries, and some have their own World War II section. So you never know what you can find within your own local genealogical library. So now, how can you apply to join our society specifically to honor your veteran? So we have gone digital. When I took over this program a year ago, we were stuck in the Stone Ages. Everything was still paper, and I have made everything digital. We have an online application now. We have our online profiles now, which I will show you shortly, and our online database for all housing of all the digitized data. This is all new within the last year since I've taken over this program. So our application is at pacificwarmuseum.org/SND. You'll see the application button there. That's where you'll submit all your proofs of service and lineal relation. Submit the photo of your veteran. If desired, of course, we would like to put a photo face to the veteran just to honor them. The information then gets reviewed by staff, which is me. I'm the only one here at the museum doing this. And then you get notified of your selection, send in payment, and then your official membership certificate is sent by mail. So we do have a basic membership fee, a one-time certification fee of $250 for the primary applicant. Because of the webinar today, you guys get a $40 discount on the application. There's a spot for the discount code, which is THC, which stands for Texas Historical Commission. And then individuals related to the primary applicant, so any secondary supplemental memberships are $50 additional. So if you have like siblings or children, anybody additional, it's not each person is $250, it's each additional person is $50. Now, if you have multiple veterans, I've had some people who come to me and say, Courtney, I have 3 uncles who served and I want to honor them all. We offer a 50% discount for the second veteran. So when you come to me with the next veteran, then I take 50% off of the second veteran. So you get your certificate and you get your PIN, and then you'll get access to the database to upload as much documents, photos, any data on your veteran that you would like to your profile. So when you come to the website, this is what it looks like. You'll scroll down and you'll see View Database. So you'll click to enter the database. This is what the database looks like on our front page. So if you have a veteran photo, then the veteran photo will show up on the left. Like I said, some people don't provide a photo. That's okay. It's searchable at the top. When you click to enter a veteran's profile, this is what they will look like. So it'll say their rank, their name, their branch of service, their dates of service, and then the affiliated sons and daughters member. And then it'll say learn more about the veteran. And this is where you'll find all those additional documents and photos. So then you'll click the button to learn more and go to the portal. This is what our portal looks like. So the records button at the top will take you back to all of the veterans folders. You'll double click the veteran folder to go into his folders. Once you're on this screen, all the buttons become double click for protection. It's just an AI protection setting that we have, so all of these buttons are double click. He has 2 folders, Sergeant Farnsworth. He has a veterans photo folder, and a military record folder. So he has 2 pages of photos. He's got photos in his uniform, photos of him at home, photos with his RMF group, photos of him when he was flying, of his plane. Sergeant Farnsworth was killed in action, so there's some articles about that. In his military records, his family had provided a copy of his Purple Heart, his killed in action certificate, the missing aircraft report, his VA life insurance report, the newspaper report about the aircraft being shot down. So he has about 400 pages worth of documents in his file specifically. And again, if you go back to the records page, this page is a keyword search page. It's a smart search page, so you can again type in any keyword that you want. So say if you want to find if any other veteran might have uploaded any documentation on your veteran, you could search your veteran's name and see if somebody had written about your veteran, had an aircraft report that maybe had listed your veteran, a boat, crew report that had your veteran listed, because you can smart keyword search in here and it will find the names. You can even, like, if you're looking for stuff from about a specific battle or an island, again, you could search those specifically. Anybody who has uploaded a document with those keywords, it will populate in here for you. These are just some veterans that we have within our society that are honored. Lieutenant Jane Kende, if you like researching World War II history, she's pretty well known. She was a WASP in Iwo Jima. She's had some books written about her. Lieutenant Commander Bill Stemmen, GM2C Bobby Rannells. So what is the future of Sons and Daughters? Obviously, our hope is to continue to grow our database. We want to be able to honor all 16 million men and women who served and have their families share their legacies. We want to create an accessible database of all the individual, World War II military records and have it be digitized and be available. And then we want a secure document storage and sharing. We want this to be searchable, be able to have relationship mapping with this historical data, and the ability to add as many photos or documents as you like. And this is my contact information. Like I said, I'm the World War II Veterans Legacy Program Manager here at the museum, but I specifically run the Society of Sons and Daughters of World War II Veterans. I'm the only one at the museum running this program. This is my child here at the museum. Like I said, this program is a member of the National Genealogical Society. We're also a part of the Texas State Genealogical Society, and the museum is also a Smithsonian affiliate museum as well as a Texas Historical Commission museum. So we have lots of nice accreditations to us. That is all.
Well, thank you, Courtney. We do have some questions from people, so let's go ahead and do some of those. Our World War II ancestor was at the Oak Ridge Manhattan Project. How do I find out more about his experiences, particularly at Oak Ridge? Do you have any suggestions for that?
Liza Mundy has spoke specifically at our museum and she did a book about Code Girls. I can actually try to find out a little more information to see if she maybe has more information. We do have one member in our database who was a code girl for the Manhattan Project, but they came to us with all their information. So I would have to do a little more digging as far as that goes, unfortunately.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Penny says, I think you covered this, but Penny says, I sent for my dad's World War II records. All I got was his DD 214. I already had that. Is that all the records that can be accessed?
So if you got that back, actually, that's pretty good. That's more than some people even get.
Mhm.
Because a lot of people again are getting that so sorry letter.
Mhm.
And if they didn't send you anything else, then they're not going to have anything else. If you know what if they were on a ship or if you know like what unit or something that they were with, the next best thing to do would be to look up if the unit has a reunion group or something like that. That would be my next suggestion because a lot of um, World War II ships, squadrons, battalions are still doing reunions to this day.
I would also say that if it's been a while since you sent for those records, it never hurts to send for them again because I believe that they are not uncovering more records, but they are finding maybe more records and they're in some different storage places in the National Archives that might be applicable. And they are trying to recreate some of the records that were lost. And so
Yeah,
if you sent for your dad's records 10 years ago, I would say it might be worthwhile to try again.
yeah, I agree.
Christine says, I have a veteran that was the first cousin of my mother. Would that make me a lineal descendant or lineal membership, or would I need to do the other membership?
So you can do lineal. You just have to show proof of lineal, which I know when you get into the weeds of cousins, it can kind of be hard. So I have plenty of people who become memorial members because they just don't want to map the family history. I have people who are like, this is my uncle, but I don't want to have to map a family tree. If it is important to you to map that tree and have that lineal verbiage on there, by all means, I'm not going to stop you. I just know that sometimes it can be a little more tedious.
Sounds like either way.
Yeah, yeah, you can join both.
Debbie says, do you accept a Department of Veterans Affairs BRLS death file card as proof?
Yes.
Gail says, has the society worked in collaboration with the Veterans History Project at the National Archives to categorize interviews or videos?
So I actually just reached out to them trying to make that connection. We are more so focused right now just trying to get all of our in-house stuff um, digitized through our archives and with our project with UNT. But our hope is in the future to kind of bridge that gap.
Debbie says, what is the actual benefit of becoming a member if you don't live in Texas area and you can't visit very often? You kind of covered that as well, but do you have anything that you might say to Debbie about that?
Even though it's housed within the museum, there's nothing museum facing forward when you visit the museum per se to to really show that you're a member. It's more the digital profile and the digitization of the records is really what we're focused on, and telling that story of the veteran, and creating that database of the veteran, right? 16 million people served, and the unfortunate thing with World War II veterans is a lot of people joined under false names, false birthdays, false records, and then those things were lost. So really, we're relying on family members to give us those histories because of the Nara fire, because of inaccurate databases, because they served under a service number and not a social security number, or even a social security number was inaccurate. Um, so even though you don't live here in the state, it's okay because we're really trying to have this digital database of the records for everybody across the world to see and be able to recognize the 16 million members.
So just to clarify, if I wanted to honor a World War II veteran in my family and upload some records, I would have to join. You don't upload records for people that haven't joined. Is that correct?
Correct. Yeah,
Yeah.
because we're putting them under the family,
Mhm.
the
Yep.
the sons and daughters member. Yeah.
Okay. Yep. Somebody asks, I think, I'm not sure you did say this. Is your museum only for the ones who served in the Pacific, or is it for anyone who served in World War II, no matter where they served?
So the Society of Sons and Daughters is anyone, anywhere, does not matter. Pacific, European theater, if you only served on the home front and never left the States, if you were in Africa, it does not matter. Yeah. Our museum is of the Pacific Theater, but you could have been anywhere.
Joanne said, my father and his six brothers served in World War II. Do you have anything for the mothers? So she said, my grandmother was a seven-star mother. Is there a site for those mothers on your site? Like, is there a part of the database that would cover the Gold Star mothers?
So kind of like even though we call it the sons and daughters, any family member, we've had people who have joined and have done a certificate for a family member. But I don't know of any um other society other than like the Gold Star moms and dads, like that program itself. That yeah, but not World War II specific, like that one. Yeah.
Somebody asked, is the membership one time or is it annual? And what if you don't keep up your membership where your materials still stay online, basically?
It's one time.
Okay.
We do not charge annual. We will never come after you again. Um, I'm our hope is that you, and like I said, you don't have to even give me all of your data in the beginning. If you come to me in a year and say, Courtney, I found a whole nother box. I know I joined a year ago. That's absolutely okay. I'm not going to say, well, you have to give me more money. No, you already are a member. You already gave me your certificate. I had people who joined 10 years ago come to me when we went digital and provide me more information, and that was okay.
How many veterans are in the database? Do you have a
So
number?
yeah, so currently, as of this morning, it was 376.
Right.
Members, we are just under 1,000. So, because some people have like 13 family members honoring one veteran.
This might be a question that they might need to, kind of dialogue with you about, but somebody says, I have a whole binder of my father's two tours of service. How much information would you guys want to digitize of that?
Well, we would like it all. I mean, like I said, we're really after those finer stories. We talk constantly about like Normandy, Iwo Jima, Guadalcanal. Like those are the stories we are told constantly that are repeated in museums constantly. But so many people have these like little snippets of, well, I left from New York on a boat and went here and was dropped off here, or I left out of this place and was, these different snippets of stories that, people have two binders worth of, and those are the lost histories that we are really desperate to digitize and, hold on to and make available.
Elena says, where do I find my dad's service number? Um, if she doesn't
Um,
know it.
okay. If you do you have any the discharge form like the WDAGO form? If you have any of those fancy discharge forms, again, if he was in the Army, those are the only ones that have them. The Navy didn't have them. Dog tags had them. Any of the VA forms had them. Um, that's another thing you can write into the National Archives. You can provide the Social Security number on your National Archive request form, and they will provide the service number back. That's kind of the frustrating thing with when you're looking up old services, they had those multiple numbers. Whereas today they just go by your socials in the
Mhm.
service.
I think I've seen some service numbers up on ancestry.com on some different databases that they
Yeah.
have. So you might be able to find it that way as well.
Yeah. Fold three,
And pull
again,
three.
yeah.
Mhm.
If anything from NARA has made it on your ancestor to fold three, um, because fold three also has a lot of like ship rosters, like flight logs, things like that, which are nice.
Is there any research on Army personnel who were exposed to mustard gas? I guess you would be saying in your museum.
I'm sorry, I don't know.
Yeah. And I don't really either. That would be something maybe to do some.
You could look in our digitized stuff from UNT, though. We might have some stuff on there from our archives.
Do a search in the database.
Yeah.
Somebody's asking for your contact information again. You can write to us at genealogy. I'm going to put that in the chat. Genealogy@acpl.info. If you have further questions, maybe about genealogy that you wanted to ask and that weren't really necessarily for Courtney, but we can also help with researching the genealogy of your service member. All right, I think that has covered all of them. So I do thank you, Courtney. This was very informative. I think people are very excited about hearing about this. This is certainly something new that I'd never heard of as well. So thank you for sharing it with us. And we'll see you all again on Thursday for our next program, Thursday at 6:30 Eastern. Thank you again. Bye-bye.